word in Java. First off, what is the static keyword and what does it do? The static keyword is one of the reserved special words in Java, and basically when applied to a variable or method, it tells Java that this, for instance, variable belongs to the class itself and is not a variable for the objects. Therefore, it will remain the same for every object created of that class. So if you see right here in our class UHStudent, we have the static string university name, and we've declared it to be University of Houston. Think about it this way. If we had 10,000 U of H students, we wouldn't need them all to have their own variable for the university name because it's the same for every UH student. Part of the reason why static is used is because it's memory efficient. If we had 20,000 objects created of a UH student, that would be 20,000 extra strings that we're storing instead of one if we declared it as static. We've also declared it as private, which means that it cannot be accessed anywhere outside of the class. So how do we access static variables? If we go into our main method right here and simply just say system.out.println and put UHStudent dot university name that right there will access the value that we have assigned to university name. But we can only access UHStudent.university name because we are within the UHStudent method. So if I run it right now, it'll be perfectly fine. Now, what if we want to access this university name outside the class? Well, then we would create a static method to return that. So we'll say public static. Again, this is a static modifier for this method, and we're going to call it string because we're returning a string. Get university name. And then the only thing this method will do is return university name. Right there, it is referring to this. So now, not only do we have private access to the university name variable within this class, we now have public access to the static string method get university name right here. So if we were to say UH student dot get university name and put that in a statement like a system.out.println statement, that would also, if we run it, return University of Houston. Now let's do another example. I have right here the public class math tool, and this is going to go more into static methods. Let's set up my main class. And just to prove right here that we, the private and public level access, let's try to create an instance, or create a call, I should say, to a UHStudent variable. So if we try to access the university name of the UHStudent in our math tool class, it'll throw an error, and I'll show that right now. UH, let's do a system.out. UHStudent.university name. Right here, my program's already telling me that I can't access this, so if I try to run it, it's throwing me an error right here. But if I access the public static string get university name, I can do this. Now, if I run the class, I'm doing that. Even though I'm in the math tool class, the main method of the math tool class, I can still publicly access this getUniversityName method. This is different because I'm not having to create an object of the university student to access this variable like you would normal variables that weren't modified to be static. If I wanted to access just this private string, student ID, I would have to create a new object of UHStudent. And it would also have to have a value assigned, which it doesn't currently have. So moving on to the math tool class. Let's say you want to create a class that performs a series of basic functions. And let's say for our math tool class, we want to have a class that calculates the area of a circle. So we would have public static void calc circle area. And we're going to give it an integer radius. That's really all we need. Now, one of the crucial components in calculating a circle's radius is the variable pi. Pi is going to remain the same no matter what we do. So in this case, for the math tool class, we would declare pi as a, and we can do public, static final. Just because we don't want to modify pi at any point, so there's no need to modify it. Pi always stays the same. So say public static final double pi equals 3.14159. And it is proper to capitalize your finals, so I'll go ahead and make pi all caps. Now, for our static calc circle area method, this will do, it'll take the value of pi. Let's have it do a printout statement for this. The circle area is plus, and then I'm going to put some brackets to do the math. Pi times r squared, which would be this operator to the power of 2. Oh. Interesting. Okay, so instead of doing r squared, I'll do r squared the other way. And close off our parentheses. So we're saying r squared times pi r squared. And what we'll do right now is we'll say math in our main method tool dot calc circle area, and for our area we'll do, also I need to, let's make r a double just to keep our data types the same. Calculate area, and we'll make our radius just 4. So notice how I didn't have to create a new object of the math tool class, because these are all methods that are going to do the same thing no matter what, and we're not storing any variables specifically to the math tool class. We don't need to have regular variables. We can just have static variables. So if I run this right here, the circle's area is 50 point whatever. Let's do another method. Calc rectangle area, and this time let's not have it return void, let's have it return a double, given the double width and the double height. Now, simply, we will return width times height. Let's go back to our UH student class now to show how we can access this class without creating a new object. If we wanted to do an operation, so let's say we have our math tool class right here. We want to calculate a rectangle area. We're going to say, and because we're returning a value, we need to do a system.out.println statement to read it. Math tool dot calc rectangle area. It's expecting a width, so we'll give it a width of 20 and a height of 13. If we run that, it's outputting right there the value of those two multiplied, which is 260. All right.